Hello, hello, hello. I want to welcome you guys to episode 99 of the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. I am your host, Jazz Bennett, mother, educator, and host. And yes, I am back on Facebook by special request from my special guest for episode 99. I am back on Facebook because you guys know that if you follow me, you know that you can catch my podcast over on Instagram live at 7 p.m. on Mondays. And you can also catch me on YouTube and also all podcast platforms, right? So I need for you to make sure that you subscribe. I want you to follow me. And I also want you to make sure that you are tuned in every single Monday, okay? So every single Monday, I go live over on IG. And so some of you already know that, and some of you, I'm glad that you are here over on Facebook, right? I have a 2-year podcast anniversary live show coming up. It is going down November 11th at the Well, Lakeland from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. From 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., we are doing the VIP mixer. And then from 6 p.m. on, we are definitely doing the show. So I want you in the place. All right. So I need for you to make sure that you have your tickets, and you can get your tickets by going to eventbrite.com. And then once you go to eventbrite.com, you are able to get your tickets. And so I want to say thank you to everyone who attended Boss Fest on yesterday. We had a phenomenal time at Boss Fest. Congratulations to Kevin and Edwina Butler. You guys put on a phenomenal show. And I was telling VonSchaye earlier that on our real estate panel, credit became a number one topic. And everyone wanted to know, how do I fix my credit? What credit score will get me that dream home? How can I leverage my credit, when I'm trying to invest? And so my special guest for tonight is a classmate. She is a Bartow homegirl. We love her there. We've always known VonSchaye to be a hustler. And I know, VonSchaye, a lot of people call you Toni. I've never adopted that. So we're going to go by VonSchaye, soon to be Mrs. All right. And I'm so happy for you. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, classmate. Most welcome. She's the mother of two handsome young men, and she's building a legacy. I know, like, one of the things that intrigued me about your bio is that at the age of 22, you brought your own home, but by the age of 24, you lost the home, and then that taught you a valuable lesson on how to rebuild your credit. And so today, what that comeback story looks like you learning the basics and the essentials on how to build and rebuild your credit. And now you are the proud owner of 2, not 1, but 2 group homes. And she is also a business partner with someone who owns 4 semi-trucks. So you're moving, you're shaking, you're baking, you're living your best life. And I know you posted the other day about credit, which is why I reached out to you, and I was like, hey, let's do an episode. Let's do episode 99, bring it on my podcast, and let's talk about it. So welcome to the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You had a very prosperous day?
I did. We're going to say it was productive.
Okay, I'm going to let you, if I didn't do justice, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone. Let us know about you if I missed anything.
No, you summed it up pretty good. I'm from Bartow. We class of 98. I don't have 2 group homes. I have 1 group home, and I do supervision, so it's a little bit different.
Okay.
Like you said, I bought my first house when I was like 22, and then kind of batted it for a relationship, and then the relationship went bad, and I let the house go back to the guy, and he didn't pay for it, and I lost it, so it tore up my credit. And so, I had to rebuild from there.
Gotcha. And so what's one of the things that you learned when you were building or rebuilding your credit? Like, where did you start? Because I know everyone just wants to know. Everyone first of all, saw that 879 credit score, and people were like, what? Like, how are you doing this? And most people have that goal of 850, not knowing that there's higher that you can go for. So first of all, let's talk about this 879 before we backtrack and know what you did. Like, when you say that, when you tell people that, like, what gave you the courage to put that out there? Because a lot of people are like, some things that you don't talk about is your money and your credit score. Like, don't even bring it up. So tell us why you felt a need to be transparent to say, hey, listen, I have a 879 credit score.
So first of all, I didn't even know I had an 879. We were looking into buying some more commercial vehicles, and I was applying like, okay, let me see what we can get. So, I thought 850 was the highest too. So they was like, no, you got like a 854, 879, and a 868. So I was like, oh my God, for real? And I was like, well, what's the highest? And he was like 900. So at that point, 900 became the goal.
I know that's right. So you go ahead and you shoot for that. So it's possible, everybody, but you have to be responsible. You have to be disciplined is one of the terms that I hear a lot when it comes to people cleaning up their credit, rebuilding their credit, is that you have to be disciplined. And I know that a lot of us get trapped when it's time to get these credit cards. We get trapped if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, and we go out and we buy these houses that we can't afford. We buy these cars that we can't afford, or we're opening up businesses, putting everything in our LLC, buying business vehicles and all of that good stuff because it was trending, during COVID and all of that good stuff, and we just don't do the research. So I want to start at the beginning. Tell us, you got to school us, give us the game. How did you start rebuilding your credit?
So, like, I was calling out the credit card company, the credit agencies, like, what's going on? Like, what do I do? Can you take this off my credit? No. So, sometimes you'll always get that one person that's willing to go above and beyond and help you. And I got a girl, and she was like, listen, you can write in a 206 letter, and this letter will get you started. So when she told me about a 206 letter, that made me start Googling, like, what's up with these letters? So I was Googling letters, finding out. Then it gives you different letters, and I went into the letters. And one of my friends, Shauna, she's a lawyer, and I kind of reached out to her, and I was like, well, let me see what's going on with the legal part of this. Like, what can I actually do? So she was like, I don't know nothing about credit law, girl. So that was a no-go. But it was just like a lot of research on my own, like just figuring out how do I get out of this hole, because I couldn't get anything. I couldn't get a gas card. I could get nothing. And it was like I had a son, and you can't get another house because this house is already on your credit. You got a mortgage in default. It was just like horrible. So like I did a lot of research on my own.
On your own. And so I know there's a lot of people that come to you and they it's not even necessarily, because in our conversation that we had, it's not necessarily that they want you to show them, they want you to do it. So talk to me about that. Like, what, since you made that post, like, tell me some of the requests or questions that you've been getting. And then we also are going to have a Q&A session as well. I want you to share this, actually. So if you are watching right now, I want you to share this live, share it with people that you know will benefit from it. Comment below if you have any questions, because we'll be looking at that too. But what are some of the questions that people were asking you, or some of the requests that they gave you?
A lot of people want to know how to get repos off. A lot of people want to know how much you charge to fix credit. I don't fix credit. It's too time consuming. I'll tell you the steps how to fix it yourself, but you got to be willing to put in the work. If you're not willing to put in the work, nothing's going to happen. And I think what happens a lot of times is people pay other businesses to fix their credit, and they just invest all of their money, and then their credit doesn't change. And it's like, I just took a loss, and then they don't want to do it again. Because some companies are really legit, but some of them just really, getting your money. But I'm never going to fix anyone's credit. I can refer you to some people that do, but it's just too time consuming. Like, you have to be in it for you.
Right. I agree. So let's dig in. So if I am someone who, I look at my credit score, and let's just say, first of all, let me back it up. Good credit. Let's talk about good credit. Does everybody out there know what's considered as good credit? Like, if you go to a lender, if you want a vehicle, if you want a home, if you want a loan, does anybody, I want to see if you know what a good credit score would be, kind of minimum good credit score, put it in the chat because I want to see how well versed you are. So does anybody know? Hi, Barbara Moore. Hi, Kendra. Oh, Kendra's watching. Hi, classmate. Michael's watching. Hi, Mimi. Deborah. Deontay. So do you guys know what would be considered? Leah, you should know this answer. I see that you are watching. Tell me what would be a good credit score. Deborah says a 700. So what do you feel about that, VonSchaye?
700 is really good. I'd say like a 680 will get you started like where you need to go. Anytime you get over 750, you're great.
Right. And then I agree. And so some of the and I think it also depends on what you're trying to get,
Right.
because you do know that there are home loan companies out there that state that if you have a 640, then you should qualify for different programs, down payment assistance, etc. But when you are in your 700s, I know that they consider that to be the sweet spot in terms of having good to great credit. So, but let's talk about someone who has imperfect credit. We'll call it imperfect credit. So if somebody has a score that's in the 5s, the 6 ranges, what's your advice?
Pull a credit report and see what's on it so we can work on it.
So step by step, where do we go? Because you put some information on your page, and I want to know if they paid attention. So I'll ask that first. Where did VonSchaye tell you to go in order to pull your credit? Because she had a sheet, her credit report, where she was able to pull all 3 of her scores. And that 7, where are you at right now? You're not even in the 7s, Lord. The 879 was her experience score, which your experience score is probably the most, I want to say, conservative score that they will give, because your TransUnion is going to be your highest. Right. So does anybody remember where she said to pull your report from? And then there is also a place where you can get a free credit report annually to check all 3 of your scores as well. And it's free annually. You pull it one time and it's free. So I see freecreditreport.com. That is one that I've heard of, but it's not the best one. But it is one that I've heard of. Anybody else remember? Deborah, you've been on it. Deborah, you've been waiting for this live to come. I know you have. I know you have, girl. And me too. Me too. So VonSchaye, go ahead and tell us, where did you get your credit report from?
Annual credit report.com, because they give you all 3 for free. They don't give you your score, but you can pay for your score to be included. So you get all 3, and you just have to download them and print them out. A lot of people just save them on their computers, but for me, I'm more hands-on, so I need to print it out so I can write on it, see what's going on. But you have to do what works best for you.
Okay. So you said the freeannualreport.com. Mm-hmm. And then there's an extra fee that you have to pay if you want your 3 scores. The reports will come, and the reports are very important. I know that one of the things that I did learn, I didn't do as much research in it that I needed to, because I probably need to do this because it probably will raise my credit score. But once you see all of those transactions and you see your credit history, a lot of things, like starting from rebuilding your credit, one of the things that people always suggest is to go back and look at your personal information. Like, because that personal information, it may have you aligned with someone else that's not you, and you may be picking up some of their debt and it's not you, or it may be old debt that you do need to dispute. For instance, like if I go back and it's something on my credit report from my college days, like I need to get that yanked off, like from your address to your phone number, like you need to make sure that aligns. And if it doesn't, then you dispute, which is one of the first things that VonSchaye stated that you needed to do. So if I'm a person, I pulled my credit report, we have the 3 scores, but I'm writing in my 5s and my 6s. What do I do after that?
So you got to pull your credit report first. And then after that, you want to see what's on there. Like if it's a lot of medical hospital bills, those are the easiest to get taken off because they usually sell them to a third party. Once they're sold to a third party, they can never pull back the agreement where you signed with them. You didn't sign with the third party. You signed with the hospital. So like if you sent me your email address, I sent you the letters to send out, and it includes all of that. Like it tells you in detail, hey, you need to send me the paperwork where I signed this with you. And the agreement was not with them. It was with the hospital. So those are extra easy to get off. Anytime something's sold to a third party, it's really easy to get off.
Mm-hmm. And then do you know the specific letter that you use to dispute the medical charges, or is it like if you're working, so I think I have Credit Wise, and then at one point when I just didn't want to pay, like I did Credit Karma, and you can dispute things there. So do you suggest going through those types of organizations, or you can just do it yourself? Like if you're doing it yourself, how do you dispute it?
So I don't, because when you do it through those, it's all electronic. I suggest you send in your letters and do them certified letters, because when you send them in certified, a live person has to get the sign for the letter, receive the letter, and then they process it through. As to you doing it online, it's just a computer generated. So you send them in certified, and someone's actually going through it themselves. And what I do suggest is, I did send out the letters. So every letter that you have, at least send it out twice a week, because they have 30 days to respond. So if they don't respond to the last letter, this is what happens. They'll think they respond to, okay, I sent out 2 letters this week. Next week, I'm going to send out 2 more. So I'm not going to keep responding because I see the last person just responded. But with the if the letter is certified, you get a tracking number. So you contact them back after those 30 days, because every time they respond, they send you a letter in the mail. So you hold on to your letter to say, okay, this is the first response. This is the second response. Oh, they skipped my third response. So now on the third response, you get to contact them to say, hey, I sent another letter. I never got a response. And they didn't respond within those 30 days. So now they automatically have to drop it off.
Really?
So yes.
Yep. Okay. So I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't sending multiple letters. And maybe that's where I messed up.
And that's why I say people don't want to do the work, because nobody wants to go to the post office every day. Like I'm going to say go on Mondays and then send another letter on Thursday. So you got to go to the post office. You got to pay for the send a letter certified, but you paying somebody else like $250 or whatever to help you, when you can really do it yourself for about $100.
Okay. I see Mimi said you send each letter certified, which is a great thing.
Yeah. So what you could do is send all 3 letters. I mean, 1 letter per credit agency certified, but for every dispute that you have, you could put it on 1 letter. So if you have 5 disputes with Equifax, you put all 5 of those on 1 letter, and then you send that one certified. TransUnion, whatever. And you need to get all 3 credit reports, because sometimes Equifax and TransUnion don't have the same information. Mm-hmm. So you can't copy and paste to say, okay, I'm going to put whatever I put on TransUnion on Equifax, because Equifax may not have an account, or they may have 2 extra accounts that TransUnion does not have.
Okay. So every single debt that you have, that you see on your credit report with the different credit bureaus, send just that 1 dispute letter with all of them, and then send it multiple times a week.
Yeah, I say at least twice a week.
Twice a week. So we're looking at a month. We're looking at about 8 times that we're sending this letter out. And it's basically a mechanism just to catch them in their correspondence timeline for that 30
right,
days.
Because they have to respond in those 30 days. And if they don't respond in the 30 days, then you get to get it taken off. But you have to keep track of your stuff too. Like you got to know, okay, this tracking number goes with letter number 1. This tracking number goes with letter number 2 to Experian, or this tracking number goes to letter number 6 with TransUnion. So you got to keep up with the stuff too.
So how did you keep up with it? Because listen, you the guru right now. You know, everybody's like, all right, VonSchaye, tell us everything. What did you do?
So I did 3 separate folders: red for TransUnion, blue for Equifax, and I forgot what Experian was. But I did 3 notebook folders, and I wrote the tracking number for each one, and I wrote the date that I sent the letter. And I just did it, and I kept it up in the folders, and then I would check it off if they got it or highlight it yellow. And if they didn't get it, I always put an X, so I knew I can call about this one when the 30 days was up.
Okay, that's smart. I need everybody. So if you don't have your notebook at home, if you don't have a pen out, if you don't have your notebook, listen, free game is being given to you right now, because you already know that credit, like credit to me is more valuable than money.
Yeah.
Like credit to me is more valuable than having liquid cash. Okay. Because what you want to do is not spend your own money. You want to spend somebody else's money to be able
Right.
to leverage that to, as an investment so that you can set yourself up. Right. And so, I'm with you. Okay. So those of you who are watching, those of you who wanted this information, I'm trying to tell you that I am there with you, because everyone doesn't grow up having squeaky clean credit. More than likely they don't. At least I know my credit was squeaky clean, and then somebody came and messed up my credit, and
Yeah.
I had to learn very young what to do. But then you also have financial, situations where you may not be able to help it. You know what I mean? So everybody has their own special thing that they're going through. So this is a judgment-free zone. This is a safe zone. If y'all have questions, make sure you ask those questions. Please feel free to do that. And I just don't want anybody to feel slighted, if you are not at that perfect or ideal credit score, because that's what this show is about tonight, is helping you get there. So you know that you have to go and pull your report. You have to pull your report, get your 3 scores. That's what you need to do, and you need to analyze what's going on with your credit. What is making you, what are your negative or derogatory hits that you have on your credit report? And then from there, you need to start disputing those charges that are not supposed to be on your credit report. And VonSchaye started with the medical bills, because medical bills are one thing that should not be on your credit report, because if it's on your credit report, they've sold it to a third party. And legally, you and the third party did not enter an agreement in terms of repayment. So therefore, that's your basis of disputing it. So I hope you are following me. Okay? So I'm trying to take notes in my head. I'm trying to run it back for y'all. I'm trying to give you free game. So, okay. First, dispute your medical charges. Second, what should we do?
So I think that's the main thing. Like after you send the letters, so I have 3 different letters. So that was the first letter. Then the second one tells you, hey, maybe it's the third one. I don't recall because I don't have the letters in front of me, but it tells you, like, listen, the letter pretty much says, at this point, we're about to take legal action. So nobody wants to go through the legal action. So then they start contacting you by phone, like, and the letters tell you, like, put your name, date of birth. Of course, you got to put your social because you're contacting, and then always put your contact phone number so they know how to get in touch with you. And the third one pretty much tells them, like, hey, we're about to take legal action against you. And then they start calling you at that point because they don't want any type of lawsuits going on. And let me tell y'all something else I suggest too. I always suggest, if your credit is good, not mediocre, it's improving, but if you have good credit and you have a credit card that you're not using, put your kids on it. Like when my son was like 15, I put him on my credit cards. Only the credit cards that I wasn't using though, because I didn't want the ones that I was using to reflect on his credit. So by the time he turned 18, his credit score was like an 802. So he was good at 18.
Listen, if you are responsible, you had a responsible in your life, put them kids on that card. But don't you put them kids on that card if you know you're going to run that card up. Do you hear me? Please.
Yeah, if you're using the card for groceries and paying your bills, from week to week, because everybody's life is different. Right. So if we robbing Peter to pay Paul, don't add the kids to the card because it's not going to help them. But if you have a card, even if you just have one card that you don't use a lot, or I just got this card just so I can help my kid and I'm just using it for gas every week and I pay it off every 2 weeks or whatever, then add your kids onto that card because it'll build their credit. And what happens is they have a history. So now they've had this card since they're 15 and now they're 18. So they already have a 3-year history at 18. Instead of waiting until they turn 18 and now they only got a 1-year history. Because history has a lot to do with your cards. Like I think my oldest card is like 23 years old. Oh, so wow. History carries a lot with your cards.
It does. I used to be one of those people that would be like, nope, I'm not getting a credit card, because I just saw how credit card debt, like when you're not responsible with a credit card, I just saw how that just ruined relationships in my family. And I was just like, yo, I was probably in my junior year of college before I got my first credit card, and I did not want that credit card. Like I'm telling you, that's a lie. I did not have a credit card. That was when someone used me to get a credit card and mess up my credit. And because I was so adamant about, like, I took a consumer credit class my freshman year, like it was that important to me. And somebody did that. And so now we're at a point where we have the 3 letters that you were stating that you can dispute the companies, and we are writing them consistently, consecutively during the week, during the month, and keeping track of our disputes. I know a question that a lot of people have. A lot of people, when they reach over the 800 threshold, they say that it's hard to continue to raise their credit. So did you find that to be true? Like, did you notice any difference in how the difficulty level of raising your credit score when you have great credit?
Yeah, a lot of times it's hard to keep up with your credit score because Credit Karma is not the best accurate. Like, it's hit and miss. But so what happened was I paid off my house and I thought my credit was going to skyrocket. It went plummet. So I was like, what the heck? Like, I paid off this credit, I paid off this mortgage, and now my credit is dropped even lower. So sometimes it's just like you have to finagle your credit. Like, you have to figure out, if I use this card and pay off this, how much will it increase my score by? So it's a lot of like give and take. So you have to keep up with it like all the time, like constantly just looking at it like almost every single day. Because what I'll tell you is that they say use 30% of your credit, but that's so not true. Credit is there to have, just to look at. Don't really use it. So what I did was I actually built my credit good. And I think by the time I got to 800, well, I left off like in the 750. And then after that, I started building my business credit. With my business credit, I use all my business credit. So I never use my credit anymore. Like, I don't have to use it because I have all this business credit to the side, which leaves my credit open to play with. So now I got credit card. I can just use it. And let me say this. I'm sorry, maybe off track. Every 6 months, always call and get a credit limit increase. Always get an increase. I don't care if it's $10. I want it. Okay. Because it builds how much you have leverage. It builds your debt to ratio income. So every 6 months, always call and ask for a credit limit increase, and always ask them to reduce your APR. I always ask for those things. And I know that was off, but okay. What was that?
That was important because on the real estate panel yesterday at Boss Fest, that's one of the things that they really drove home was that debt to income ratio. And so, yes, the increasing of the credit limits, et cetera, because they were even stating that if you know someone in your family that trusts you and they have, a great, they have a high limit on their credit card, ask them to add you to it. Because if you've maxed out your credit card and you are able to get on their credit card, then your debt to income ratio is not maxed out anymore. Like, they've really opened up a window for you to maneuver. So I thought that was an incredible piece of advice, because you don't have too many people who are gonna do that for you. But
that you mentioned that I do offer trade lines for that. We'll talk about that later though.
So let me see. Deborah says she just paid her car off. Her score dropped 25 points.
Yep.
When will her score go back up? And will it be more than 25 points when it does go back up?
So I guess it depends what else you get in between time, because every time you apply for something, you get 2 points. Like, every inquiry takes 2 points off of your credit score. So I don't know if you're applying for other stuff, but yeah, it will go back up. You'll get your 25 points back, but it's just how you use the credit that you have to see, is it going to go higher? So what I would say is, if you have cards, use them and pay them off. Like, you don't have to pay them off, wait till your billing cycle ends. Pay them off before your billing cycle ends, because the credit agency sees that you're using them and paying them. So they are the ones to tell the credit bureaus what you're doing with your credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I never
go ahead.
So I never have a balance at the end. Like, I never try to keep a balance. Like, if I use it this week, next week I pay it off. And I know that's not the situation for everybody, because my situation was not always that, but pay it off as best you can. And if you have a lot of credit cards with a lot of different balances off, take the smallest one first and pay it off. Your whole goal is, I'm going to get this card out. So say you have 4 credit cards. One of them has 500, one of them has 1,000, one of them has 250. So we're going to work on the 250, or one of them has 300. We're going to work on the 250 card first. We're going to pay the minimum on all the other 3. And this 250 card, we're going to pay $100 on it. So in 3 months, we're done paying for it. Now we got this card out of the way with a zero balance. We're going to go to the next card. That's 300. We're going to pay the minimum on the other two. And this one that's 300, we're going to pay 100 every month, or how much ever you can afford, because I don't know. So you're going to pay 100 every month till we get this card done. So now you have 2 free clear credit cards, and that increases your income to debt ratio.
Right. I love that. And I'm following you on that. And that definitely, that's a playbook or a rule from out of the Dave Ramsey playbook. So if you guys are fans of Dave Ramsey, like that's what he teaches you to do, with his program. But one of the things that I wanted to go back, and then I'm gonna hit back on Dave Ramsey in a second. I wanted to go back to when you were rebuilding your credit. Do you remember the score that you were at when you were successful in getting the things that you needed to get off of your credit report?
I was like 517.
And so you did, yeah. So was that before or after you did the work? I think she'll be back some kind of way. We lost her, but I think we'll be back. And so I want to know if you guys are still, if you are still taking notes. Make sure that you are still taking notes, and I want you to make sure that you drop your questions in the comment section. I was trying to go back to see if you guys had any questions. So I'm just going to recap until I get, okay, you are here. I see you. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can bring you back on. It's not letting me bring you back on. Let me see if I can request you to come on. No, what happened? You may have to request to join the live. So VonSchaye, if you're a request to join it, you should be able to come back on. I see you, and I am accepting you in just a second. Ooh, somebody want to get blocked because they trying to talk to me while I'm on this live. Oh, it's saying I can't add you. Request me again. I don't know what happened, VonSchaye. I hope somebody wasn't calling you too. That's why I was like, mute your phone, because they'll be trying to call and talk to you. We are on a podcast, people. Y'all calling my guests and all of that good stuff. VonSchaye, try to request me again, because it said I couldn't request you, or I couldn't add you when, for some reason. So I can see Shan. Deborah, let's see. Deborah, if you are still on, do you, Deborah is on it. Deborah said, Deborah said, I am taking notes. I'm so glad that you are. Plenty of notes. I think when you are married, they typically put the husband's name first, so his credit is better than mine. Okay, so that's strategic. So listen, as someone being single, like now I have all of this time to think about all of that, Mimi. And so like I'm like, okay, yeah, like these conversations are gonna go deep, because at this point, at this age, it's all about teamwork. How can we be a team together? So let's see if I can VonSchaye, I don't see you in my request. So go out again and request me again. This one I'm going to get me a studio, because I from Instagram to Facebook. All right, let's see. I may want to say, okay, so I'm going to let you request me again. But I know that, Deborah, you said you were taking notes. And so, Deborah, give the people some of the things that we were saying. I'm going to start talking, and then you chime in whenever you see that that is something vital. So what we were talking about at the beginning is that, I want to say that I think you guys already know this, but you may not. So definitely when it's dealing with credit, the first thing that you definitely want to do is pull your credit report. And so you can go to freecreditreport.com. That's not the best one. You can go to your freeannualreport.com. It has all 3 of the bureaus there, all of the credit reporting bureaus there. And then you can pay extra. Definitely number 1 is pull all 3 credit reports, and you want to monitor your credit reports because you want to see all of the items that are on your credit report. Make sure that it is you that they are talking about, because you may have the same name as someone. But if you see that your name and your address, your phone number, anything looks off that's not you, even the spelling of your name, a digit off from your phone number, you are going to now gear yourself up to want to dispute them. And so one of the first things that we stated is that we needed to start with medical bills. Deborah, you've been listening. I'm loving it. You start with your medical bills, and there are specific types of letters that you can, there are different types of letters that you can use in order to dispute them. You want to send these letters via certified mail. VonSchaye, I don't know why I can't see your request. Before I saw it, but I don't see your request anymore at all, and I'm not too happy about that. It's giving me all these things like requests, sent stars, audience, and even when I go to my request audience, allow them to participate in your broadcast. I am doing that. So I don't know why it's not letting me request you. You said make sure that all of the information is yours, definitely addresses, phone numbers, date of birth. Absolutely start with those medical bills, because guess what your medical company does when it ends up on your okay, VonSchaye, thank you. When it ends up on your credit report, what that means is that they have sold your account to a third party, which means that's when you start getting all of these calls stating that you owe such and such, or we are a debt collection company on behalf of blah 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 blah. Well, they are now in violation because you did not enter the agreement with a third party. You entered the agreement with, let's say, a Lakeland Regional or a Baycare or a Watson Clinic. Therefore, you have cause to dispute that particular charge on your credit, right? And so what you need to do is you need to research the specific dispute letters. There literally are files where you can go. There are places that have files that you can download the specific dispute letters that will be suitable for the charges that you, or bad remarks on your credit report that you're trying to dispute, right? And so you start sending those letters. VonSchaye stated that she kept her dispute letters in different colored folders. One, like a red folder, was for Experian. One was for TransUnion. The other one was for Equifax, and she just kept them in different folders. And you keep track of everything that's going, because they will give you tracking numbers. And the thing is she continued to send out letters continuously, like to all 3 credit bureaus. I see you now, so fingers crossed if they let me on. All right. So I'm adding you. It says this person was unable to join because of technical issues. I don't know what technical issues there could be. But what I'm going to do, VonSchaye, what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to try to, I didn't want to log off of my live, but I think I'm going to end up logging off of my live and starting it over and seeing if you can request me that way. I'm going to let you try one more time, but it said something about technical difficulties, which is why you couldn't come back on. But definitely try one more time. And then the other thing was to just research your letters, research the different dispute letters. Sometimes your credit will not go up when you pay things off because they do go by your debt to income ratio. However, the way that credit typically works is that they want to see how you are paying things off, but they also want to see that you are utilizing your credit. So people like Dave Ramsey teaches to pay everything off. Like you pay everything off with cash. Cash is king, and that's the way that you rebuild your credit. That's the way that you continuously are financially strong, right? But when you are dealing with trying to invest, and you're dealing with trying to leverage your credit in order to make investments, then that's when you need money from other people that you can start to show this track record. And you just want to make sure that you pay things on time, that you pay them sometimes before time, in order to increase your credit score. All right, so I see you. I'm going to accept, and I'm going to add, and it's working now. Thank goodness.
All right.
All right, she's back. All right, so you're back. So we where we left off, we were just talking about the three letters that you did use to dispute it, and then someone gave you an example of that they paid their car off and they were trying to figure out when will their credit score go up, and you were advising them to make sure that they pay it on time and to make sure that sometimes you pay it beforehand, because it's like a numbers game, and you said you have to continuously watch it. Like, I just remember when I was credit obsessed, I was watching that thing like every day, like even maybe twice a day, because I want to know what's changing my credit score now. Like, how did it change this time? And it's like sometimes it would go up, and I'm like, well, what did I do to make it go up? And then I would be like, oh, okay, that's what it is.
And in a good tool, like with Credit Karma, it does show you like if it changes, what made it change. Like it'll say if it's negative or positive. So I do have Credit Karma, but I did sign up for like Equifax $19.99, and it shows you your score, and it tells you like your real credit score. But your credit score could differ if you're buying a house, a car, a credit card. All of them pull from like FICO 3, FICO 5, FICO 8. So it just depends what you're purchasing or what you're trying to get credit for.
Okay. And so go back to the FICO 5, 8, and all of that. So explain to someone who doesn't know what that is.
So listen, don't quote me because I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but I'm just going to give you the general idea of it. So FICO 3 is maybe the score they use to get you a credit card. So your score may be really high in FICO 3, but FICO 5 may be what they use to get you an auto loan. So it's going to be different than it was in FICO 3. FICO 7 may be what they use to pull for your house. Mm-hmm. So each one, like a house, of course, is going to be look at more stuff than getting a credit card. Credit cards, your score is always going to be a little bit higher. Auto loans is probably the medium, and then, a mortgage is more deficit.
Right. So when we talk about just like leveraging your credit, no, what we left off was we were talking about when you rebuilt your credit, because I was asking you if you remember where your credit score was and then where it landed once you rebuilt your credit. What was that answer?
So my score was like a 517, 516. I think it was like a 517. It was horrible. Mm-hmm. And it took a while. Like, it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen. It took like 2 years, to be honest. It took like 2 years to rebuild my credit. Because once all that stuff is off, some of the stuff, like, I couldn't get off. Like, I had to, this is what you can do too. So I have to wait till I got some money that I could spend. And then I would call them and say, hey, like, say for instance, you have a Sprint bill or whatever, Verizon, whatever, and you owe $700. You can call them and say, I got $100 I can give you right now. And sometimes they'll take it, but you have to tell them, I need a letter saying that you're going to remove this from my credit. Because if they don't send you those letters, it's just going to show off that it's the charge off instead of being completely removed. But when you call them too, to tell them, like, this is how much I can pay, you have to have that money right then, because if you don't have it right then, they're not going to do the negotiation with you.
Yes. I definitely agree with that. So that's great. That is great advice. What do you do? And I know that you're talking about this as well, but what do you do if you're talking to a company and they said that they spoke to the credit bureau, what have you, that you have the debt with, but it's still showing up on your credit report? What do you do?
Like, so you have the credit with the first party?
So let's just say, let's use student loans. Say student loans are on your credit report. And they're not supposed to, because you just went through this program where they've been forgiven, et cetera. And it's like it's still on your credit report. Like, what do you do?
So for the forgiveness thing, it takes a little while, because with student loans, nobody has any paperwork. Nobody know who told nobody nothing. So I didn't have I can't tell you a lot about student loans because thank God mine got wiped out. Like $190,000.
I know that's
But
right.
I know when I was trying to consolidate them to get them together through Fed loan, like some of them were still showing up separate. Like it'll show like this one was 30,000, this one was 10,000, and I wanted all of them combined in one through Fed loan. So they was like, it's a process. It takes, but you just have to stay on top of them. Like, listen, when you call in, you get their name. I write down everything, and some people don't, but that's what works for me. So when I call in, I write, okay, I'm calling on June the 10th. It's 5:30. I spoke with such and such, and this is what they told me, and I asked them for a reference number. So when I call back, I'm giving you this reference number so the last person can pull up to see the notes that they put in and say, oh, she did speak with this person. You just have to stay on top of people because if it's not important to you, it's definitely not going to be important to them. Like they don't care. They don't even know you.
Right, right. And then so I did hear you say there's a difference between having it look like a charge off and then as comparison to them settling the debt with you and them agreeing to take it off of your credit. So explain to people who may not know what that means. What is that process?
So a charge off just says we came to an agreement and they paid $10,000 out of the 15 or whatever, I don't know. And they paid a certain amount and a certain amount is still owed. We charge that off. So it's not on a credit. So when you do a settlement and they remove it, when they do the settlement and remove it, also all those late payments come off too. So you always ask for that settlement letter because you don't want to just settle for a charge off because with the charge off, the late payments are still on there and it shows that it was just typically charged off. Like we came to an agreement, they paid this amount and we charged off the rest because, the banks have insurance, so they charge it off. But if you get the letter, then all those 30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late, it comes off with it being removed from your credit.
Okay. I just got a question. Deborah wants to know, can a charge off be removed?
Yeah, you can get anything removed. You can get a charge off removed a lot. So let me say this. A lot of times, this is what happened with me. Like I would call the credit bureaus and I would just play who am I going to get to answer the phone today? And sometimes you could tell whoever answered the phone, they weren't going to help you. I hang up a call back hey, and then you start talking to them, talking about the day, the kids, and those are the people that help you. It just goes a long way. Like if you just talk to them yeah, and then sometimes you could tell no need to waste my time because they're not going to help me. So I learned a lot of stuff through that too, just trial and error. But yeah, you can get the charge offs taken off too.
I
what
think
if they tell you?
Kiana is saying, what if they tell you that they don't have a letter to send you?
They have to send you a letter. So, Kiana, what do you mean? Who told you they don't have a letter to send you?
And I love because I know she's probably typing that, but I love what you just said in terms of the game part, in terms of keep calling back, pretending that you're somebody else or trying to get in good with them. Because honestly, I've learned that too, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I've noticed that if I'm having a good conversation with this person, or this just recently happened with my mortgage company. I was talking to someone and I can't remember what I was trying to find out, but we just started talking and it's like the conversation just opened and she was like, oh, you know what? Have you ever thought about this? Or did you ever think about this? And I'm like, no, and nobody's ever told me this. So it's so funny that you're the one that's telling me this, but I think you're right. Like that, building that rapport and that relationship, that goes a long way. Like getting going to be sweet.
Yeah.
How they say you catch more flies with sugar or honey than you can with vinegar. So
right. So I think for me, I learned and I didn't tell them I was somebody else. I just called in and said, they'll ask you all your information. You tell them and you be sometimes I'll just say, no, I just have a general question. And I start talking to them, well, hey, if you do this, that, and the third, and that's where we lack at because we don't know. So if you help me, then now I know.
Right. Kiana was answering your question.
Okay, after settling, we asked for a letter, and they said they don't send out a letter. They would just report to the credit bureaus, and it showed as paid. Okay, so for Kiana, it showed as paid. So did it show a zero balance?
Oh, Kiana, what you doing? Are you multitasking, girl? Come on, get in this conversation now. She's probably telling you yes, and then probably responding with more information. I
Yeah.
wonder. I
So
wish it was a button to
somebody said, don't
bring.
forget my question. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Let me see if I can go back up. She said, "What's a good credit card to get to build your credit or help your credit?"
So this is what I say. I forget what it's called, and don't. It's called self. You know what I'm talking about? It's
Mm-mm.
if you Google it, it's like self credit card. So what it is they charge you like you pay them every month. You pay like it's different programs. You could pay like $25, you could pay $50, you could pay $100. So you're just putting your money. You pay them once a month. And you could do the $25 one. So you pay them once a month and they report to the credit bureaus like it's a credit card. But
You're talking about a secure credit card. Is that what you're saying?
no, it's called self.
Okay.
So you pay 20 because you don't get to use the card, you don't get to use the money or nothing. But it's like they put your money in a savings account. So when your year is over, they give it back to you. But after that, I seen a lot of people get credit cards, and so I did self, and it didn't really help me because my credit was already kind of built a little more than that. But for a lot of people that I knew, when I found out about a program, it helped them to start getting credit cards. So every month you'll pay $25 in, you don't get the money back, and they do charge you like a startup fee of $15. But every month they report on your credit bureau that you're paying your debt, but you're not really. And then at the end of the year, you can submit to get your money back, and you'll get the money back, and then you can start applying for credit cards. And for me, a lot of easy credit cards to get is Capital One. I suggest getting no credit cards that have an annual fee because there's a lot of them out there with zero fees. Don't get annual fees. You don't need those cards. Capital One is really easy to get. I've had Capital One since I was like 21.
Like Capital One be at you.
Yeah, and they'll give you like 5 or 6 different cards. And also, this is what I suggest too: when you apply for a credit card, if on your computer screen you can pull up more than one application at a time, pull them up. Even if you have to use your phone, like your laptop and your phone. And when you hit submit, try to click it at both times so you only get one hit. And then it won't look like you just applying for a whole bunch of different stuff and you're taking all those 2-point losses. Because if you get that one hit and you hit submit at the same time, you're only going to get that one loss of 2 points.
Now I tell you, I definitely would not have thought to even do that. So that's game right there too.
Yeah, pull up multiple screens.
Kiana stated that I guess the charge off was recent, so she is not showing up yet as a zero balance.
Kiana, I say call back and tell them, hey, listen, I talked to such and such on this date. She told me she was going to send me out a letter. I haven't received it yet. Can you make sure I get my letter? Like you're going to get a million no's before you get a yes, but stay consistent. It's you that you're fighting for. Like who's going to fight better for you than you? So call back and just consistent. I don't care if it's on your lunch break, if you call every day, because I'm going to call every day about mine. Like, hey, they told me this. Hey, they told me that. Hey, man, I just keep calling. And that's what a lot of people don't like to call. Like, nope, I'm not calling. They said, no, I'm calling.
I know that's right. Deborah says, I want my bank mid-Florida. I went to my bank mid-Florida, used my own $500, made payments on time, and my score went up.
Yep, security card. Yeah, Navy Federal is really good too. Navy Federal is the bomb to me. I love Navy Federal. If you know anybody that can get you in, piggyback off of them, get in. They are great. Navy Federal has a lot of different programs. I know my friend Alexis has a thing that she does with Navy Federal programs. Like they have this one thing you can borrow $500 from them, take the $500 and open a secure credit card account with them. So I don't know many banks that does that. Yeah, they have a lot of programs and they don't know. And the same thing happened. She called and was talking to the girl and the girl told her like 6 different programs that they had. So she was calling me, telling me about them. I was like, girl, I ain't know none of this.
Hey, so VonSchaye, tell me how do you feel that you went about getting this knowledge? Because I feel that the questions that I've asked you, you not only just have the question, but you can give me examples. Like it's like you've tried this. Like I know that because I've tried this, and I know this because I've tried that. Like how did you gain all of this knowledge?
I wanted to fix my credit. Like so I was dating Polk and we broke up and I purchased the house in my name. And then when we broke up, he still had the house and things happened and he wasn't paying for the house, and I moved on and I needed to buy a house. I felt like I had my son. At least he deserved for me to put him in a house. That's how I felt. And I was trying to get a house and I couldn't. So I just kept on like going through it. Like, I'm going to figure this out. Like, no matter what, I was going to figure, that was my goal. Like, I was getting this house for my son. So I did whatever I could to figure it out.
Cause I know a lot of people that they don't have that hustler. And I'm going to say, cause that's what I know about you. Like you've always been a gold digger. I'll say a gold digger. People who are out to, reach their goals. But VonSchaye, I feel like you've just always been built different. Like it's like you've always been a hard worker. And it's like, VonSchaye is doing what? Like I remember when you used to work at Winn-Dixie, and it's like, okay, from those days, it's just like, you were stacking paper. Like you were like one of the first people that I knew that had their own apartment, and we were young. And it's just like, golly, like, okay, come on, VonSchaye, just keep doing it. So that's one thing I've always been proud of you about. We have all these, high school superlatives that we give people, and sometimes it's on the mark and sometimes it's not. Because those people that you don't even pay attention to, those be the ones that are most likely to succeed or be more successful. So I love when I tell you I love a great comeback story, which is why I even have this podcast. Like, I just want to give you your flowers because you've always been on it.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I love it. I love seeing, like, every time you post a success story or anything, like, I love that for you. So, congratulations in all that you do. Deborah is saying my goal is to buy my first home.
So, Deborah, let me tell you this. It's a lot of and I'll say this about houses too, because we did touch base on it. A lot of times they tell you, okay, you only need a 650, and that's true. When I bought my first home, like, I pay attention to details. So I was like, PMI, what is PMI? So I Googled it, and I was like, I'm paying this insurance and I already got homeowners insurance. So I called my mortgage company, like, why do you guys have me paying PMI? Because I have homeowners insurance. They was like, no, you have a Fannie Mae mortgage and it's on there until you pay 70 or 60% of your mortgage. Or they told me, it was a while ago. So my goal was like, I needed my credit score for my next house. I needed my credit score to be high enough that I don't have to buy PMI, or I needed to have enough money down so I'm not paying PMI, because now I'm paying an extra $15,000 to you just to give me this loan. And a lot of people don't know that. Like, we just take it and we don't read the fine print. I'm going to read all the fine print. I don't care how many days it takes. I need to know, what am I signing up for? So we have to read to find out what's going on. Cause I was like, what the heck is a PMI? I never heard of PMI. So when I called, I thought it was just regular insurance. They was like, no, ma'am. I was like, well, take it off. They was like, it doesn't work like that.
I don't think you took that answer, though. I bet you called somebody else.
No, listen. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get rid of this PMI. So I asked the lady how much I need to pay extra every month for me to get rid of this PMI in 2 years. So she was like, you got to pay like $300. So I was like, oh my God, there's no way I could do this. So I got another job, because I wanted to get rid of that. Like, I was not just giving away my money. Like, listen, for 4 years, I worked 3 jobs, 4 years straight.
You posted that. I remember you posting that, and Deborah just said, and I don't want to take away from what you were saying, but Deborah was just saying, you're awesome. You've always been encouraging, and you can be tough at times. But I love listening to that. Like, because I look at your post, and if people listen to what you just said, it's not, VonSchaye not one time said that she had a man to do it for her. She never said that she had a silver spoon in her mouth. She said that for 3 years straight, you worked how many jobs?
For 4 years, I worked 3 jobs.
4 years, she worked 3 different jobs. And that's just because she had goals. So it's like, and that's what, honestly, that's kind of like that defining point with me. Like, that's that tough conversation that I have with myself daily. Because I'm just like, because my sisters were like, they think I grew up spoiled. Like, Dad bought you everything, like, da-da-da. And I've always tried not to fall into that category of, I never really expected for him to do it, but yes, he did. And it's like, I paid for that with me getting good grades and all of that, staying out of trouble, going to school and all of that. And it's like, yeah. And I did work. I worked through high school. Like, I did, but I think it's different ways that you are taught on how how to grind. And I think that's what it was. I never felt a sense that I had to grind. It was just me intrinsically not wanting my parents to have to pay for everything, that I wanted to be able to pay for something. But it's like in my brain, what I'm telling myself right now, because it's like, okay, yo, if you want a nicer house, well, you already know what it is. Like, you already know what you have to do with this property. Or if you want to hold on to this property, you already know what you have to do. And so it's just, I think when people have that mentality that, like you said, I owe my son a nice house. Like, this is what I want to do. Or I want to not pay for this PMI. So tell me, what do I need to do? And then you look at these factors and you make a game plan. And I think sometimes where I get stuck and sometimes where others get stuck is we're not really ready to get out of our comfort zone. Like, we're either afraid to go out and hustle, or we just are not used to having to do it. And that's why I have so much respect for people who do have that mentality that, listen, if I want it, I'm going to have to go out and get it. Like, if I have to get another job, if whatever it is that I have to do, because I have goals. And that's just it. Like, if you have to get another job, you're going to have to get another job. If you are in debt right now, the only way that you're going to get out of debt is to pay them people back their money. They need their money. So if you can't get it with your regular 9 to 5, then you just have to, you're going to have to sacrifice. And I think that's the name of the game. Like, you're going to have to sacrifice. Like, you did it for 4 years, but you said 3 jobs. So it's like, what can you do? Like, what skills do you have? What job can you go out and get to make it work? Like I said, at the end of the day, you just have to make it work or find a way to make it work.
So one of the questions is, I get a lot of credit card offers in the mail says pre-approved. Should I check the pre-approved cards? So read the details. Read and see if you're going to pay a $99 fee and an activation fee. Throw them away. Do not apply. And know what your credit score is like. So look at your credit score, and your credit score to tell you, can I apply for a card or not? I'm going to say, if you're still in the 500s, don't even waste your time applying, because they're going to just decline you. And some of them will say pre-selected, not pre-approved. So be careful with the reading of what the paperwork says too. But yeah, if you're over like 600, 650, then go ahead and apply. But if you're still in the 500s, don't waste your time with them people time.
You said other people time.
Yeah. And one of them said, I work with the company that covers PMI with 1% down plus must have. Yep. Okay, I love that. I thought I seen another question. 90% of your mortgage. Oh, I could be tough. Yep. So I think from me, my hustle came from my dad. Like, everybody know he's a hustler. But growing up, like, I lived both sides of the track. I lived with my mom's and 80s epidemics. Everybody was on drugs, so I lived on that side. And then I lived with my dad, and it was a different side of the track. I'm going to just say that. And it was like, I worked, but he always used to be like, okay, give me $25. Because back then, I think minimum wage was like $4.25. So he'll be like, give me $25. So I thought he was taking my money from me, but he was saving it. Like, you need to start saving. And I tell you, to this day, I can save. My mentor, she just had her birthday party. And that's what she said. She said, if you want somebody to save your money, get this on, because she will pitch $2 out of a penny. I just truly believe in saving, because I become obsessed with saving. So when I look at my bank account, I be like, oh, how big can I get it to grow?
Yeah.
So I'm really big on saving. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. And that's what I live by. Like, if I buy something on my credit card, if I know I can't pay it off that next week or that next month, I'm not going to buy it, because do you really need it? Like, who are you impressing?
Exactly. I just, if you don't hear anything else from this podcast, I need you to hear that, because I know for a fact that's where a lot of people fall short. That's a trap that you fall into. The worst thing that they probably did was give y'all Afterpay, or give us Afterpay. If you cannot afford it at that time, well, maybe not, because I don't know if it has interest or not. I've never done Afterpay, but I just feel like, we get caught up in these sayings that you only live once. When you die, you can't take it with you, and all these other sayings. But it's like, what do you want your quality of life to be like while you are here? Like, do you want to stress out about financial burdens, or are you one of these people that's like, I ain't paying them people back their money anyway? But it's like, it comes a time where you're going to have to lean and depend on your credit at some point, unless you just have it like that. And I just don't know anybody who has it like that, where they don't have to just, rely on their credit. Like, your credit can stop you from doing so much, or it can propel you into realms that you would never even know of. And so VonSchaye, talk to the audience about how you've been able to leverage your credit. By having good credit, what has that afforded you?
So like I was saying before, like now I don't even use my credit. I use mostly business credit because so when you, this is a whole nother topic, but so when you start business credit, everybody always says, don't be the guarantor. But sometimes it's okay to be the guarantor because you can, with Chase, I started my business credit. I think they gave me $25,000 for my business and I had to be the guarantor, but it was okay because it was worth it. So you have to weigh it out. So it's just really worth it for me. And it was. So now I have these business credit cards that allow me not to use my personal credit, because when you use your business credit, it doesn't report on your personal credit. So I think that's what improved my score a lot, because I was in the 700s, but once I start doing my business, I stopped dealing with my personal credit. Now this time around, I did use my personal credit because you need a guarantor when you're getting stuff, you know, in those figures. But it's worth it. If you need a guarantor to start your business credit, just know in the end that you're never going to have to use your personal credit again. So that's what did it for me.
John, I knew you were about to say preach. I knew once she started talking about that business credit, you were going to chime in. But I think that's what a lot of people just don't know. And that's why I'm glad I have you on here. And yes, that is definitely a different topic. But I think a lot of people, including myself, didn't really know the power of being able to do it and knowing that you could leverage your credit, you know, alongside your business credit and look more towards your business accounts for what you're trying to do.
So I'm going to say this too. I'm not married yet, but I'm on the process. But I went to this class and this lady told us, she said she was counseling this couple and they were married and the wife was bitter that her name didn't go on the house. And she said, why are you mad? She was like, well, I want my name on the house too. She said, why? So we could tie you into debt? She said, get your house in one person's name, use the other person's name to do whatever else. You have free, clear credit. You can use it for whatever you want to do with it. So I think that's big too. I know that's totally off topic, but I think that's big when you're in relationships. Think about, you don't have to be on his name on the mortgage. You could be on the deed. I don't want to be on the mortgage. Just put me on the deed. I don't need the mortgage. Right. So you could just be on the deed and you could use your credit for other things. Like both of y'all credit won't be tied up into one. His credit tied up or your credit tied up, and then one person's free. So now the other person can go get the cars or a boat or whatever we need, you know, whatever your lifestyle requires. So sometimes we got to think outside the box. Like, I think we are I will say this, like when me growing up, the only thing was instilled was graduate high school. It was no build your credit, go to college, get a degree. I learned that later on in life. So I always want to give my kids the tools that I wasn't given. And not saying my dad did a bad job at all. I'm definitely not saying that. What I'm saying is he taught me what he knew. So I know more to teach my kids more now.
Right. That's a perfect example of what you do, because you are definitely, you know, you are building a legacy. Like I remember one post that you posted that, and I don't know if you did this or not, but I think it was something that you were talking about, because you were saying when you were getting into the trucking industry, because, you know, you got into the trucking industry back at the time that it was booming, like where it was becoming very popular to do, and your son was getting ready to graduate from high school. And it's like, you know, you already had him set up to be able to have a part in the business, into that trucking business. And I think that was the first thing that I saw that I was like, damn, like VonSchaye is really, like, she is definitely, you know, building a legacy. Like, she's already set this boy up. I remember when you said he had the 800 credit score because you put him on your credit cards. I love you because you are a wealth of knowledge, but you also share it. And it's not even to boast or brag, because I don't even read it like that. I just read it like, okay, she's making all of these plays and she's willing to share it. Like I never see it in a boastful way. Like I always see it in a place that comes like, this is what I'm doing. Like, and I feel like I always hear you say like, you can do it too. But I thought that was a great boss move. When we talk about leaving legacies and building legacies, like you actually gave a play out of your playbook on how you started to do that.
Yeah, I think financial literacy is so important to us as Black people, because nobody gives us that. They don't teach you that in school. When we was growing up, we was writing checks and the check might bounce. Mm-hmm. Nobody taught you any of that. So you had to kind of learn it on your own and figure it out. So that's why I like for my son, I like before you call. And this is one thing I'm so sorry. I should have told y'all. Call and get a lock on your credit card. I mean, on your credit reports. Like, lock your information so nobody can use it. Every time you apply for something, they have to call you to verify that it's you. You got to go through all these questions. I know it's a hassle, but it protects you a lot. And and also what I learned is it prevents a lot of stuff from going on your credit. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. But this girl told me, she was like, why you have the lock on your credit? And I was like, this dude told me to put it on there because it stops people from doing fraud on your credit. She says, okay. And I said, why? Why you asking me that? And she said, because a lot of people don't know that you get it too to prevent stuff from going on your credit. And I didn't know that. She said it's harder for them to put it on your credit when you have it locked.
Free game. So I didn't know about that either. So I like that. I like that a lot too. Up above, Stanley, a few comments earlier, he stated that he never really hears men talk about credit, like their credit scores. What do you have to say about that? Like, does your future husband, did you guys have this discussion? Because I'm pretty sure you did, to be able to unite. But I when he said it back then, I was like, you know what? I don't really hear guys talk about their credit scores either. Now that I think about it.
So I think men don't talk about their credit because women usually handle all the financial parts of like, I'm going to apply for this or we're going to do this. We take the lead in that. So most of the time, dudes' credit is messed up. And I guess no fault of their own, but nobody just paid attention. So for my fiance, we went through it and this is what I will say as women, we're nurturers. So sometimes we feel like if I help this person, they just going up and leave me. But it's got to be a risk that you take because I said, okay, I'm going to help him. And I got his credit together because I knew if I invested in him, he was going to invest in me. I didn't want to marry somebody and I'm doing good and they're doing bad. I'm never going to be with you and I'm doing a whale up here and you still down here. That's like me dragging you along. Why would I do that? So it's okay to help people. I don't care if you get burnt in the end. You just learn you can't help everybody, but some people gonna burn you. It's just a life learning experience. You got to go through it. There's no ifs and buts about it. But help your significant other. If they trying to get on their feet, why would you not want to help them? Why would you not want to see them do good too?
I'm gonna tell you something because you really said something that really resonated with me. Because I'm a viewer, listening to at the nuggets that you are giving, and I love that you said that. The quickest way that I will be disinterested in someone romantically or somebody in a relationship is if they are at a certain level and they can teach me something and I don't see them trying to teach me something and it's probably from experience. I know for a fact it's from experience that it's just I just vowed I will never ever be seriously interested in someone if they gatekeep, because it's just like what you just said. You chose to invest in this person. Sometimes you get burnt, sometimes you don't. But I feel like if you have a skill set and you know something, and I'm talking to you and you see if I'm going through something and you gatekeep that, that's the number one way that you're gonna really get me to not even talk to you anymore. Because I asked you for your money, I didn't ask you for anything. But it's that knowledge. Knowledge is power. And if you're not willing to help someone, I don't need to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? No. Right. This ain't gonna work.
So I agree with that too. It's not gonna cost me anything to tell you what's going on or tell you how to get in a better situation. But some women, and I'm gonna say men too, some of us get burnt. We'll help somebody and they'll get up on their feet and then they off to the next. You be I'm never doing that again. And sometimes it makes you a lot skeptical. Should I help this person or not? But I mean, it's just a chance you got to take. Life is a gamble.
Yeah, I feel you. I was gonna say, because I can't tell from my phone what time it is, but I do want to respect your time too. But if you guys have any questions, definitely put your questions in the chat, because I know VonSchaye will be definitely willing to answer them. And then VonSchaye, if you wanted to give any other nuggets about this credit situation, feel free.
So this is what I'm going to say. Put a lock on your credit. All three. I don't care. It takes time, but just go through the process. Nobody is going to invest more in you than you are. So if you don't, how do you put a lock on your credit? So you call all three credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, and you just tell them I want to put a freeze or a lock on my credit, and they do it. I don't know if they do now, but I know when I started it, they used to TransUnion and Equifax used to send you out in the mail a piece of paper with a PIN code. You have to keep it. So I put it in my phone because I don't know where the paper is at now, but if you put it in your phone, because you need it every time that you tell them to take the freeze off. Because anytime you go to apply for something, you have to take the freeze off. But yeah, call and put a lock on your credit. Dispute everything on your credit that you possibly can. I don't care how long it takes. Some of the stuff, like once you dispute it like for 3-4 months and it still doesn't come off, you have to realize, okay, I gotta come up with something to pay it off. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, so Jazz, somebody just hit me up and asked me, would you be interested in teaching them how to do a podcast? All right, so I'll give you that.
No, yeah, I would. I would, and thank you for that answer. Like I see a lot of people, and they always ask me, and so I can definitely help you. I don't mind. So yeah, you can give that person my information.
Okay. And then like, so when you do your disputes, make sure you get a delete to pay, or tell them that you need a settlement letter that you just don't want to charge off. Always get those letters. Call, be persistent. You have to be persistent. My sisters say I'm anal about everything that I want done, and I am, because my dad always told me if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So you have to have a plan. You have to stick to your plan, and don't let nobody default you out your plan, because at the end of the day, it's going to be you that suffers. They're gonna be going on about life, and you still gonna be figuring out how much pay these $1,600 back, or how much ever you're trying to pay. And if you have to get a second job, it's okay. A lot of jobs I work at home now. Like I went to school, I worked at Humana, I did Hilton. Like for 3 years, I was getting my master's degree, or 2.5 years, I was getting my master's degree. I worked full time at Humana. I would come home and log on to Hilton and do reservations. And on the weekends, I completely wrote papers. Saturday and Sunday, that's all I did for 2.5 years. So you have to dedicate it. Like a lot of people just see the end result. They don't see the mix and the blending in between. They don't see all of the struggle that you went through to get there. So know that I'm a sacrifice, but it's going to pay off in the end, because you're sacrificing. Well, for me, I was sacrificing for my kids. Like my whole goal is to leave each one of my kids a house, so they'll never have to worry about anywhere to live. I don't want to have to worry about mortgage. I can't help taxes. Everybody got to pay them. They're going to have to pay the taxes, but they won't have a mortgage. Like, and to me, that's putting your kids ahead in life.
It is. It absolutely is. And I want you guys to make sure you put a pin in that. Stop purchasing things that you cannot afford until you can afford them. Like, don't try to keep up with the Joneses, because the Joneses don't care about you. And make sure that whatever your goal is, you go after that goal. And if that includes getting a second job, because if you look at what I do, like I'm just able to do it through my passion, but I'm about to go get a third job. Like listen, my goal is I want to redo my home so bad. Like I want to redo everything in this house, and I want to be able to keep it as an investment property when I get my other house. Like honestly, that is my goal, and I want to be able to, I'm going to say this because he's not going to watch the podcast, but if I have to put my child through college, I want to be able to pay for his college, though I'm not doing that because he better get scholarships. But I just want to be in a position that if I had to, I can. And although he has a dad and his dad needs to do his part and he does his part, but let's just say if he's not here to do it, I want to be able to I want to be able to do whatever we need to do and not skip a beat and not have to depend on anybody. That's what I want to do until I'm like Miss VonSchaye and about to become a missus. Then I can settle and rest. But you ain't settling and resting. You still on your big one. You still doing what you need to do. But I just want to be able to do it myself. So
yeah, and I think that's the part that we miss, the financial literacy and the sacrifice. Like we're gonna miss something, but you're not gonna miss anything. Just you have to focus on you and what's important to you. If it's important to you, you can make it happen. And if not, nobody can ever tell me, oh, I don't have time to do it. Yeah, you can, because I did it. So you can pull it off too.
Mm-hmm. Did you answer that question? Someone was asking what is the pay to delete, but you already answered that, right?
Yeah, the pay to delete. That's the same thing. Like you tell them like I gotta pay $600, but I need you to delete it off my credit. Like I'm not paying the full balance. But when you call the credit bureaus and say that, you have to have your money together right then. You can't say I'm gonna call back on Friday, because they're not gonna do the deal then.
Just like how you get those calls from medical, but medical would be more lenient because they just want to get any kind of money from you. They just want to just go ahead and pay whatever you have. Just give me what you got. So yeah, did you guys have any other questions? Yes, Leah, you do. Leah does. She teaches financial literacy, and she came over to my school and she taught a class in financial literacy because those kids wanted to know about so much. I'm like, really? Y'all are like in sixth and seventh grade, and y'all want to know about taxes. You want to know about Roth IRAs. Like, she pulled out her own calculating system and showed them if you start putting money in a Roth IRA at the age of 17, what it could turn into. You could almost be a millionaire or a millionaire by the time I think it was in their 30s. And I was like, yeah, we need to teach. So yeah, I'm on that. And we didn't get taught financial literacy, but I do see the importance of that, which is why I even created the life skills class. So thank you, Leah, for coming out and teaching the kids financial literacy. Cindy said, what do you think about the Dave Ramsey course?
I don't know. I don't know what Dave Ramsey course is. What is that?
Dave Ramsey has a different philosophy. I know a lot of people who deal with them, like when they look at him as their financial guru, because he is a financial guru, along with, Susie Orman. You have all of these people who are very popular when it comes to credit literacy and financial literacy.
Hold on, Jazz. My son is at the door. Well, I'll take the phone with me. Never mind. Okay. He says no credit. I mean, if you got enough money not to live off credit, then you could do that. But I think credit is king. Like, why would I spend my money when I could spend somebody else's money?
Right. And so he teaches that his principle, he goes against all of that, like borrowing and credit cards. When I say he goes against all of that, like the cohort that I was in, we had to cut up our credit cards. We cut up our credit cards so that we don't use them anymore, and we just start paying them off. And he does it. He's kind of in a radical way, because he has this thing where you do it in gazelle mode, where it's like you sell everything in your house that you don't need. You go get another job. Do you really need that car? Like, he teaches you how to get out of debt without using somebody else's money. That's basically his principle. And he doesn't believe in that credit aspect. He believes of cash is king. Like, that's what he preaches. And so I was just like, oh my God, like people in my cohort when we were taking the course, because my sister and my brother-in-law paid for me to go through the course. And girl, people would come on, they don't sold their car, they sold furniture that they didn't need in their house. And it's just like they used that money to pay off all their credit card debt, and then they just started over again, basically. So they hit a
But what do you do about transportation if you're selling your car?
So he has an answer for all of that. Like, I can't remember what they did, but so what he'll teach you is, I'm telling you, he does like radical things. Like, he'll tell you carpool. Can you carpool with someone? He'll tell you, can you do whatever until you're able to like outright buy a used car, or you're able to set yourself up financially to be able to purchase what you want. So
I mean, if that's what you want to do and it works for you, then, that's what you can do. But I believe in credit. Like, credit works. I just believe in business credit instead of my personal credit. So it doesn't affect my score.
Yes. I was going to ask you, I heard you say something about your coach. How important what do you utilize your coach for? And did it have anything to do with how you do your financials now?
So my coach is my business partner, Miss Jackie. I use her for absolutely everything. Like, she started the business first, and then she helped me get into it. So I was like, oh my God, she actually does meetings, once a month. She's on Wednesdays. We go to the public library, and it's just a women's group. Whatever's going on, you need to talk about it. Do you need some help with whatever situation you got going on? She does it. She's wonderful. When I tell you, absolutely wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And she'll help you. Like, she helps build businesses. She's a registered RN, but she's military. So she does everything. Like, she helps people start up their businesses. She helps 401ks. It's nothing. She's a jack of all trades. I absolutely love her.
Good. Now, is she she's a fee? Like, she has a fee associated with her services?
She does, yes. Well, for mentoring, I'm gonna say no. But like when you come to like, if you want to build a business, she'll help you start. But like if you go to the extremes, like you need her to do your business plan and stuff like that, of course she's gonna charge you for that. But just like the bare minimum stuff, the LLC, nah, she really, I can help you do an LLC. Anybody can help you do that. But like when you need a business plan or a table chart, it just depends what you need. You know, like she's gonna help you as much as free as she possibly can. But I don't
So,
even have
Deborah,
anybody signing up for her to be that mentor.
see if Deborah has somebody else that she can set you up with or whatever. But I'm sure, Deborah, you and VonSchaye can link, because maybe one more person can come. But I do understand. I wanted to say that because that's just where my mental is as well, is getting out of my shell, you know, thinking that I need to do everything. However, because I do think it is very important that you know how to do things that are going to be essential in your life, like fixing your credit. Like a lot of people say you pay people all this money when it is something that you absolutely can do yourself. If you're somebody who just does not have the time, and some people just don't have the time, then I guess you will pay somebody to do it. Like I paid someone like close to $500 to help me with my student loans, and I saw it as an investment that I needed at that time because I truly did not have the time to do it. But now when I look back on it, like at that time I did. When I look back on it, I'm like, 50-50, because honestly, Jazz, you're smart. You could have really read and did this yourself. You just really didn't want to do it. And I'm fine with that. So I didn't want to do it. So I paid for it. But it was something that I absolutely could have done myself. But it did save me time. It did not save me money, but it saved me time.
So I will say this, Jazz. There's some stuff I'll pay for too. Wait, hold on. So it's some stuff I'll pay for too. But if I pay for it, I want you to send me all my paperwork, because I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to go back and read it so I can figure out how to do it on my own. Like right now I'm doing my Medicare ID number. I did it a couple of years ago and I forgot. I paid to do it. He sent me my paperwork, but I never read it over. So now it's kind of foreign to me. So now I got to start from the beginning. But I do have the paperwork. So once I get started, I know where I'm going to go with it. But anytime you pay for something, ask them to give you your paperwork so you can figure out where because you could feed me today, but if you teach me how to cook, I could eat forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wanted to end on this. It was something that you touched upon briefly, but I also know that it's a service that you offer. And so I want you, hey, Kit.
Hey.
Kit.
Good.
You got a good story today? How was school?
Good.
It was good. How old are you now?
5.
Oh, gosh. Are you in kindergarten?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I know you are so smart. And you know you have a very smart mommy too, right?
Uh-huh.
You're not looking.
I know something that your mommy is going to get you. You know what it is?
What?
A house. Did you know that?
No.
You're going to have your own house one day. Gifted to you by your mommy. Look at how bright that smile is. That's what I'm talking about, VonSchaye. We need to be trying to plan to buy houses for all of our kids. She's going to set you up so you can be a millionaire, a billionaire one day.
All right, go sit down.
I don't want to be a millionaire. I gotta work.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. You do have to work. And I can guarantee you that your mom is going to show you everything that you need to do. But here's what I'm going to say. You're not going to be a millionaire before I am. I got to beat you, okay? We're going to be in a race. We're going to be in a race.
All right, go ahead, Jess. So you go, because he ready now.
I heard you say something about lines of credit. Is that what you were talking about?
So I do trade lines, which is lines of credit. My oldest, and I sell the trade lines. I do them 3 months or 6 months, and it just helps your credit score, like the longevity of them. What are you doing? Okay, move.
Explain to those who don't know what a trade line is. What would that be?
So trade lines are like, I told you, like you need credit that has a long history. Kick, nobody cares. Go sit down. I'm sorry. So trade lines are like credit, it's a credit that has the longevity. Like you can buy a trade line, and if it's 20 years for $50,000, that's going to increase your score. But not if your credit is already toe up. Like if your credit toe up, fix it first and get it like stable, and then get trade lines. I'm never going to tell you to buy a trade line and you're still fixing your credit, because you're just wasting your money. But if your credit is steady, like you're at a 600, you can't get it to go up, and you're still not getting approved for credit cards, get a trade line, because then they'll say, okay, now they have a credit card that they've had for the last 15 years with $20,000 on it. So it'll show that you have open credit that you haven't used, and then someone is willing to give you more credit at that point because it made your score go up also. Okay. But if you're fixing your credit, do not buy a trade line. If you are fixing your credit, do not buy a trade line.
Got you. And so with this trade line, are you just using it for the purpose of leverage, or are you actually using it?
I don't use them. I sell them.
But for a person that you sell them to, is it like they can do both? Like, do you advise that they use it?
So you can't use a trade line. It's only there to help your credit.
To help you.
Yeah. Okay. You're not going to be able to use it.
I have a question with how do you buy a trade line?
For me, or just in general? Because you can buy them online, like it's tradeline.com sells them. But for me, you just inbox me and then we'll go over the information. I'll send you how much they cost, what's your options, everything. I think I posted it a while back on Facebook. Like I do 3 to 6 months and I put the price. Like I'm not going to inbox you a price and somebody else a different price. I put the prices right there so everybody can see it's the same thing.
Promise you, if you go back on her timeline, she did post it. Like she has the prices and everything on there with the different trade lines that you can get. So you did answer that question. So unless you want to leave us with something, I when I saw your post, I was just like, I got to tap into how VonSchaye is doing it, because if I'm not at that level, if someone's doing something that I want to tap into, then that's just, I have promised myself that I'm going to open my mouth and I'm going to connect with that person who has the knowledge, especially, when you said, I'm not charging you for this, I'm going to give you the game for free. And I feel like that's exactly what you did. And there's so many people that are in debt. And I know it's causing stress in their life, because I've been there before. Like I've been there. Like it's like you feel like you are in a rat race and you can't get off of it. Like you can't get out of the rat race, and it's stressful, especially when you are a hardworking person, you are a good parent, you are a good person, and it's just like, where is all of this coming from? So the whole purpose of me wanting to collaborate with you and bring your expertise on my podcast was just for that, was to give not only hope, but we can't just be wishing and praying without doing the work, because we all know that faith without works is dead. So I wanted to give people just basic steps that they could do, and to show them that yes, you can do this on your own, and you can. And I wish financial peace and stability on everybody who has watched and who will eventually listen to this podcast episode. You want to leave us with anything, any words of advice or anything? How can people keep in contact with you?
So for anybody that does not have the letters that want them, you can inbox me and I'll definitely send them to you. I just need your email address. You can just put your email address in it. I'll send it to you. And I do try to keep up with credit. Like so I turned off my alerts on my inbox. So if I don't respond, it's not because I overlooked you. It's just because I don't get the alerts, but I will look at you and I will respond, just not immediately, because I have like a lot of stuff going on, but I definitely will give it to you. Like, I feel like we should share the information, especially if it's not going to cost me anything. Like, what is it going to hurt me to help somebody else to come up in life? So hold on. So sharing information is free. Like, why not? So if you want them, I'll send them to you. If you have questions, I can answer them. I can't tell you I know every absolute thing, because I don't. It may be stuff that I don't have a clue about. But what I do know, I definitely will be able to tell you.
But she's not going to do it for you.
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing it. That's what I'm not. But listen, I have a couple of friends that actually do it. Like Alexis does a lot of it. She does a lot of improving the credit. She does a lot of cocktail content. So I can always refer you to somebody if you don't want to do it that I trust that will do it for you. Like, I know that they'll do it, but I'm just not doing it.
So how can they keep in contact with you, VonSchaye? Like following you? I saw you have almost 5,000 followers. So definitely follow her page, follow her. But how else can they how can they keep in contact with you? And then is there anything that you need in terms of viewers pouring into you? Because you do have your group home, which services, kids who are transitioning, from or trying to get into society, and they are in a safe haven, a safe space with you. So is there anything that we can help you with?
So listen, I always say this. If anybody wants to help, I'm always receptive of it, but God is my source. I'm just the resource.
I know that's right. I love that.
But you know what I think I might do, Jazz? I might just do a page on Facebook, like rebuilding your credit, and just like you could join the page and people could put on their questions. And once a day I'll go on and answer all the questions. I can't answer them immediately because I got other stuff going on, but I think that'll be great. It'll help each other. Like you could post on there what you learned, and somebody else could say, "Hey, this is the experience I got." It just helps us all together.
I like that. I like that idea. And as soon as you create it, if you decide to go that route, I definitely will be promoting it. I will be looking on it because I'm trying to get where you are. All right, classmates. So listen, I need to follow this advice. So listen, I'm look, she said she need to get her job together. I need to get my job together too. Listen. We all need to go to work. I'm ready to go to work too.
Yeah. You gotta put in the work. Nothing comes free. The Bible tells you faith without works is dead. So you gotta put in the work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to take this time to thank you so much for being my special guest for episode 99 of the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. I had to deem you special for me to come on back over here to Facebook land. I need to stop playing. I'm gonna come back and bring y'all some podcasts on Facebook as well. But thank you so much, VonSchaye, because this has definitely been informative. It wasn't like it was beneficial. Like if someone really, really listened to what you said, if they took notes, then at least they have a starting point. They know tips that will help increase and boost their score. They know what not to do and they know what to do. So I'm forever grateful for you providing my audience with this information, your followers with this information. So thank you so much. Everybody out there, I need for you to make sure that you share this episode. Tell everybody that you guys learned so much, whatever it is that you took away from it, because I know you did take away a lot. And I want you to make sure that you keep in contact with VonSchaye. I want you to make sure that you keep in contact with me. Definitely subscribe to the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. That's Jazzie, Conversations with Jazz podcast on YouTube, IG, and podcast platforms. And of course, you know that I am I'm coming up on my 2-year podcast anniversary show. It is going to be a live show, and it is going to be at the Lakeland Well. It was at the Lakeland, the Well Lakeland last year as well. So it's the same spot, just a 2-year podcast anniversary show, and we're doing a VIP mixer this time. Tickets are available on eventbrite.com. So get your tickets. It's November 11th, 11/11. So remember that date from 5 to 9. And I cannot wait for you guys to be in the audience. So I want to see you there this year, VonSchaye.
Okay.
You supported me last year, and I really do appreciate that. Like that meant a lot to me. So thank you so much for doing that, for supporting me. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. And you can always inbox me, send me your email, and I'll send you the letters. And if you have questions, you can just email me the question, or inbox me the questions too.
We will do that. Good night, Kick. If you can hear us, good night.
He gone. You ain't want to see his money. He gone. Okay, Jazz, I can't see your money. Come on, hurry up. She gonna look at your money. Come on.
Oh, he got some money. He done brought some money.
Listen, he got a bag. It say money on it, so he keep all his money in a little bag.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. I love it. I love it. Kick, you make sure you keep saving your money, all right?
She can't go there. There you go. Well, you gotta hold it.
All right. Look, you got enough to buy me an ice cream. The next time I see you, I want me an ice cream, sir. Can I get an ice cream?
Why?
Because I'm not gonna take all your money. I ain't gonna ask you for a pair of Gucci slides. I just want some ice cream.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Are you sure?
Yeah, she's good.